both if you're a business or if you're a scientist, you're always trying to service the society somehow.
Yeah.
And through India, because of the scale, and because of the quality of the people that we can collaborate with, and because of the ambition of being the gateway to low and middle income countries overall, we really have an opportunity to seek impact with Indian partners.
Okay. That's nice.
And that's, I think, why our board was convinced that we should do to set up here.
Okay, the first. Namaste. Joining us today is Jakob Williams. Jakob Williams is heading Novo Nordisk office here in India. So Novo Nordisk Foundation is one of the largest charitable organizations in this world. Jakob has a background in policy making, in science, the higher education system, research and writing here in India and in Europe. Jakob also worked for Danish Embassy here as an innovation counselor, as well as Jakob studied here in India.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me.
So Jakob, thank you for coming on my show, Global Stories with Usha. So you've been working for Novo Nordisk Foundation here in India. You have something called a program called PEP. Is that what it is?
Okay. Yes, that's right. We have a program called Partnership for Education of Health Professionals. It's a global program, but we are actually starting it out for the first time here in India. And we already have some projects running under that program. It's focused on health education. So that means that it's focusing on the nursing colleges and medical colleges and trying to work with those colleges to make new innovative ways of teaching in those fields, with the hope that maybe we can support that more nurses and doctors coming out, but maybe even with the better degrees. And we are focusing, maybe for those of you who know the history of Novo Nordisk Foundation, we are focusing on cardiometabolic diseases especially, but then also focusing on how we can support the health systems in servicing the rural and maybe a little bit more vulnerable populations better across the world. What we really hope is that we can maybe develop the models for doing that in India and then take it to other places after. So in India, we have a project with AIMS Delhi and a project with CMC Vellore. Okay. And we see them as two centers of excellence in education, both for medical and for nurses. And then we would like to support them in gathering their resources, maybe innovating within digital elements in education, and then push those innovations out into the system to really strengthen the whole education system. And so the world is going to need a lot more doctors and nurses.
Agreed.
And we are looking at what we call the epidemiological transition, which means that we are probably in the future facing much more trouble from cancers and from the cardiometabolic diseases than from infectious disease or some of the classics that we have been targeting. So now the health system needs to grow in a new way so it can help people care for their chronic diseases as they live longer lives. For that, that's the...
So is there a shortage of doctors and nurses?
Yes, there sure is, especially in some of the areas where it's a little bit harder to live and to maintain families. And that's not just a problem in India, that's also a problem in Denmark. The village where I come from is in the part of Denmark where this shortage is really heartfelt.
Oh, really?
So it's a global problem, but we think that India is probably the right partner to really work on that problem, because it's very pronounced in some areas of India, and you have the institutions that are of high quality and that can help us develop the models for how to tackle that problem in India and in other countries, in East Africa, as you mentioned just now.
So basically, if I understood you right, so you're becoming a support system.
Yeah, so we would like to insert grants. So we are, you said, a charitable trust.
Yes.
We are a foundation that has two obligations. One is to own the companies that are within our ownership. So, and that are especially two companies, Novo Nordisk and Novozymes. Now the proceeds from that travel into our philanthropic purpose, which is the one that I work within.
Yes, exactly.
And we operate in Denmark and also globally now, increasingly, through grant making. So give grants to institutions that we believe will be strong in taking a certain scientific area forward. So we're not creating our own system. We want to support some of the institutions that we believe in, and that the government of India also believes in.
But I also saw that you all also supporting a program with World Bank. Am I right?
Yes. So that's very interesting, I think, because World Bank, they seem quite rich.
Yeah. Aren't they?
I know that the Danish side, the Indian side, everyone is already putting a lot of money with World Bank. But for some of the activities that they do, so larger loans that they do, they need to have some knowledge work done. They need to have actually some knowledge built up within their system to inform their work much better. And so they asked us to support a report that they are 2 reports, I think it will be, that they're making about the match between what comes out of the education system of nurses, doctors, and other health professionals, and the health needs that the different states have in India.
Yes.
That's one thing they're doing. Yeah. And they're also looking into what motivates the young people when they go into nursing careers, when they go into a doctor career, to figure out how maybe I guess the long term of it is to figure out how we can adjust the education system to better incorporate a little bit wider group of youngsters and to really service them better. Of course, our hope is that a lot of the young people who come into medical and come into nursing will work for vulnerable or for rural populations, and not only focus on the big glossy private hospitals and urban centers, but also really think about what are the developments in the health sector that the government and that are pushing right now, and that are really the need of the hour. So that's why we are supporting them in doing that work, so that they can do their lending better, because they place loans with states or with national governments, but they need to also have the knowledge and competences to do that operation as well as possible.
Yeah. So now talking about Indian educational facilities or systems you're working with also hand in hand, what do you think? How is the quality of education?
Yeah.
And you even studied here in India. So how do you feel?
Now, people used to say that Indian education and science was signified by islands of excellence. So you had islands of excellence in a sea of what? Something that wasn't excellent. I don't think that describes it anymore. Actually, I think that we have gone beyond that. That you see that you still have those islands. Yeah. But they're no longer islands, but you still have these lighthouses like IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, IISc. Yes. NCBS in Bangalore, the old IITs, BHU is there also. Many very good institutions. But increasingly, we're also seeing second-tier institutions having international connections and being at par in the education with some of the IITs. So I think that the Indian higher education and science system is really developing fast. And now some of them, of course, have more of a tradition and have more capacity for international collaboration. Yes. And that's our natural home.
Of course.
But we hope to go through them, for example, AIMS Delhi, and then reach out into the other institutes with their help. Maybe sometimes we will set up a grant with other institutes that are not already international in their kind of way of operating. Mm-hmm. Because we believe that there's a lot of quality faculty and a huge amount of quality students over in the what we call second-tier students, second-tier educational institutions, like smaller regional universities.
Absolutely,
In that said, they also have access to different type of knowledge, different type of data, different type of environment, both of scientific interest for the world, but also they have the connects to really make science into something that gives impact on the ground. So if we just work with the AIMS and the IIT, the IISc of the world, we don't necessarily get our benefit out into the society, the benefit of the science that's being made. Yeah. So what we really hope is that we can also work with that second tier.
So are you bridging it?
That's what we hope. Yeah. But we have to work through the partnerships that we can have with the Indian institutions, with the the government, the state government. So we have to work within the framework of what the Indian side already wants. Right?
Yes.
And if we can insert a little bit support here and there to accelerate some of those, then we're happy.
Okay.
On the one hand side. On the other hand side, if we can maybe connect some of the Danish institutes that we're already funding in Denmark to those opportunities with the Indian institutes, then we're also very happy.
Yes.
Because then maybe the impact on the ground of some of the investments in Denmark would be much larger.
Okay.
So I really see India as this opportunity for seeking impact. Both if you're a business or if you're a scientist, you're always trying to service the society somehow.
Yeah.
And through India, because of the scale and because of the quality of the people that we can collaborate with, and because of the ambition of being the gateway to low and middle income countries overall, we really have an opportunity to seek impact with Indian partners.
Okay. That's nice.
And that's, I think, why our board was convinced that we should do to set up here.
Okay, the first place was India, the hub was India. In this process, where does sustainability come in?
Yeah, so sustainability is a new thing for the foundation, actually.
But it's pretty strong in Denmark, right?
It's a very strong thing for Denmark. For the Danish relationship to India, it's the focus.
Focus, yes.
But for the foundation, it used to be very much a medical and health-focused foundation. And more biological solutions in other fields are coming in. And a few years back, a little bit of work being done together with an institution in Hyderabad, ICRISAT, on improvement of certain crops that are more climate resilient and so forth. And I really hope to see much more.
Yes.
Another area that they are experimenting with in Denmark on the foundation side, carbon capture and turning carbon into protein, for example. Yeah. I think the potential here is enormous.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the foundation has global health, human health actually, and planetary health as the two key focus areas. And then it has the idea that we build a strong bioscience system to support those two areas of engagement. And funding-wise, the human health is much larger within the foundation. Yeah. But if you look at our strategy, they are equal targets.
Okay.
And if you look at the companies that the foundation owns, which is kind of, you could say, the family history that also shapes to some extent the foundation's strategy. You have Novo Nordisk, which is of course a pharma company. Yes. Then you also have Novozymes, and they are number one in enzymes, and they are also among the best in biosolutions for better climate, for better food systems, and so forth. Yeah. And when you think of it, then the two things also come together. Yeah. Because climate, healthy agriculture, for example, built around crops that are often more nutritious and more healthy.
It includes our own health. Yes. But also work aside, now you've studied in India.
Yes.
And then you also have been a stay-home dad, supporting your wife's career. That's really very nice. And you want to talk about it a little bit? I'm very curious.
Yeah. So. People are often surprised when they see it. There's when I sent my CV to you, there's a couple of years, or a year and a half or something like that, where it says homemaker. So basically, my wife, she's science, the study of religion, of global religions, and she became an anthropologist.
Okay.
And she wanted to do a PhD about how Buddhism is developing in India. So at that time I was working in Ministry of Science, and I asked for leave. It was, I think, 3 semesters or 1.5 years. I was with her in different places. I was here in India first, and then a half year in Michigan when she was at University of Michigan for her PhD also. And then we came back and did another half year here. Okay. And it was fantastic. Okay. And that's also when I got to know India for the first time. Okay. And I've been here a few days here and there at a time when we were living in Nepal. But that's when I really got to see India and fall in love with Delhi. Oh. And that's also when I found out that India, you are crazy about science and education.
Yes, we are.
That's why I also kind of felt that I should myself do research about that.
Oh.
What is the role of that in the Indian history and in Indian culture and society? And that's what brought me back to the embassy many years later, or a few years later, as the representative for science, innovation, and higher education for Denmark. But it was fantastic. Our daughter was 8 months when we arrived in Delhi airport, and till then I hadn't really spent much time with her.
Okay.
Because she had the bad habit of sleeping late. The first semester she wasn't going to any daycare or anything like that. She was only 8 months.
Yes.
So she was with me, and I got this very strong relationship to her. Yeah. And it's a fantastic gift. That I think even now, when she's now 13, makes it more easy for me to really relate to her, because we have that bonding time all the time. So it was a gift from me.
Oh, that's an example of a lot of dads out there to come out and do this and help their wives go live their life, and daddies can stay home and take care of the little babies. I think it's amazing.
I highly recommend it. That's
that's good.
And India is the best place for it.
You were in India and then you went back, but many years later you came back to India again, to the Danish embassy with your family again. And how did the move happen? How did the kids take it? I understand that you and your wife were in love with India. I understand that part. How did the kids take it?
Well, so we had actually ended up spending a lot of time in Delhi, because those 2 semesters I just said, when Elizabeth was doing her research, and then we decided, why don't we do it again?
Okay.
Now Jakob can be the researcher. So we actually did another 10 months or so. That's when I went and was at GNU and did my study on IT. So the kids had, until their school age, they spent quite a lot of time in Delhi. So they felt very comfortable and very familiar. And they're from a cross-cultural family, so they knew that they have more homes than one. So you could say that we just, in our conversations, we added India as one of their homes.
Nice. Okay.
They had no grandparents here. Still, they felt they had that connection.
So they adjusted well, and they were happy to be here.
It was not a hard move for them, I would say. They were quite excited. And the school over here, the international schooling, is
most
really
important. When you have kids.
Fantastic. And it's a little bit of an exciting environment, because people come from all over.
Yes.
And so you have so we had our kids in the American embassy school system, but it also had a lot of Indian families connected to it, because might be one of the parents is an American passport holder and so forth. A lot of Korean kids, few Middle Eastern families, and then from different parts of Europe. So it was really
multicultural.
And being, I know US, Denmark doesn't sound very different, but still you come from different places. So being here, where everyone comes from different places, that was also a kind of freedom for us.
So you promote India for new families to come, and they can, you say it's a safe place, and children can have good life, and
there's no doubt.
There's no doubt.
And that's not just Delhi. I mean, we really like Delhi. A lot of people find a good home in Bangalore, but I would say if I were to come here again, then I would look at Hyderabad or Pune, or some of these
to the other side of India now.
But also some of these cities that are really growing quickly.
Yes.
Because there's a whole different energy in India that you don't find in the Scandinavian countries. You get a yes right away, and then you have to together build the way towards actually making it happen. But that mentality of catching the good idea, seeing the potential, that's what makes it really fun to be here. And Delhi and most of the Indian cities are quite global, and so it's I think for the families it's also easy to adjust and follow their interests while they're here.
And also, because you're in the foundation and everything, I'm just thinking, how do you say, of course I understand that Denmark has maybe good medical facilities, of course. What do you think about the Indian medical facilities right here in the hospital for expats? When they move in with the families, naturally they need a good hospital. They were, especially when they come with little children, they're very worried.
But for expats, especially in Delhi, I think you probably have world class. We find that it took us some time, because you need to find the doctors that the specialty doctors.
You need to navigate.
And then all of a sudden you have them on WhatsApp. So something's wrong. You write your doctor on WhatsApp,
Very true. Yeah.
That would never happen in Denmark.
Yeah.
No one will have that. People will not experience that anywhere else unless they are.
So you say the health sector in India has more customer service based rather.
Yes, I mean, of course, if you look overall, there are many levels of quality.
Yes.
But the quality that you can access, you asked for expats, right?
Yeah.
We still think that we will be getting things done here in India on our own account, just because of the ease of it and the quality of it. Yeah.
Oh, nice to know. And also, do you have any? I mean, of course, as you said, like you travel a lot within India, right, for work.
Mostly for work. Yeah.
Mostly for work, but so. You do eat when you're working. So what is your favorite thing and what do you like to eat? Or did you miss anything when you went back home? Or
food is definitely a huge part of what makes Delhi and India attractive. These days I'm really exploring northeastern food. Other than that, Andhra food is very nice. The Syrian Christian Kerala dishes.
Yes.
I really like Mangalorean food.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I thought that I knew Indian food when I came and was very focused on the Mughlai cuisine, which I still enjoy.
Yeah.
But now that I'm getting to know about the things.
Because it's very diverse. It's a big country and every state has its own cuisine and
its own cuisine, its own culture.
If you had a chance to settle in India, would you?
If I had a chance to settle in India, well, it's hard to say, right? I would like to have a permanent place here.
A home.
Yeah, that's for sure, a home here. I have my parents in Denmark.
Yes.
And I have my sister and my
you have a family. Yes.
So in that sense, I think that will be my base.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a permanent connect. That's not just professional.
A second home?
Yeah, second home. If you can find an OCI card for me, then I would be very thankful.
But thank you so much, Jakob, for coming on my show.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you.